So I had you, and you were my first child, and I had no idea what to do, And I stayed with Nana probably 6 months until I moved out, and she helped me, take care of the baby and learn everything. And then I think it was tough on you, that I moved to Richmond to go to school, but I got you in a really good preschool, and you really liked Miss Austin, your teacher. But financially, it was tough, There was one time when you were invited to a birthday party in preschool, and you were so cute. You decorated the present. You had your little lion thing on, and we went out to my Peugeot, and it wouldn't start. I was just heartbroken for you. I was like, and I talked to the family, and they didn't offer to come get you because I was thinking maybe they'd give you a ride. But and then I got you in ballet. That wasn't your thing that much. And I met Jerry, and we'd struggled with trying to teach you how to swim, and Jerry, I think, paid for you to take a class at the YMCA, and I got you swimming. And then you always hope and dream your marriage is, you wish for the best usually when you get married. And there were some problems. And I don't know, I just went out west. I couldn't deal with it, my dad and Jerry against it and wanted me to have an abortion. And you knew I was going to have a baby. You knew. I was so mad. I was like, you got to be kidding me. They're going to treat me this way. And so I left, that wasn't okay. And we had a little adventure out in Farmington, New Mexico. You went to a class in school that you liked a lot. And we stayed in a homeless shelter for a while until I got us a place. And then, Jerry just didn't have the money he said he did. I'm afraid he didn't. But we did do what we could do, we took money out of his retirement to buy a house. And I didn't really do that until I was pregnant with Morgan, because I thought I might leave him if it was just Jerry and James and you and me. I thought, well, I can probably handle that. But then with Morgan's pregnancy, which was, I didn't expect because I had an IUD in to prevent that, I just buckled down and tried to do what I could do, make the best of it. But it proved too difficult. I ended up, I couldn't do it. I tried. I really, really tried for the best of the children. But it was too tough to be in a marriage where you just, are not in love with the person at all. Not even at all, but you can't even be friends with them because they tell you lies. And I know he would say it was my bipolar, but I beg to differ. I really, really beg to differ on that. It was not the bipolar. Because I did get upset with him when I caught him in lies. I just explode. Because, it was scary. It was always about money. And he was basically spending more money than what we had. And we could lose our house sometimes. He was fraudulent with money because he wasn't good with it because he couldn't set boundaries because he was an alcoholic. I didn't know. I never lived with him. My dad had been fairly honest, I think, about stuff, and he sure as hell didn't spend money he didn't have. And see, I think the main problem was at that time I couldn't make a living. I was, sequestered with the kids and having some trouble with my bipolar, so I was vulnerable. And that was the problem. It wasn't him. He could lie and do all the stuff he wanted to do. But my issue was I was vulnerable because of my issues with bipolar, because I couldn't just go out and get a job that made $40,000 or $50,000 a year. I couldn't do it. See, you've always had that ability to do that, which is good. But I truly felt like a prostitute in that situation. And there was nothing, I had to live with it. I did for a long time. And then I finally got out of it. I just bit the bullet. I said, I can't do this. I'm 40. I was 40, and I wanted something more for my life. So I went back and saw Kent, and he was still not married, and we still liked each other. In fact, we'd had a little bit of a donut. I didn't think he liked me, and he didn't think I liked him because I left and went to Richmond. But then he had leukemia, which kind of sucked. But at least the thing is about life and death is that you never know when it's going to happen. And I was just really fortunate that Kent was still alive, so I could talk to him. Even though he had leukemia, I could still communicate with him, for on this earth for 6 years, because he was my soulmate. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he was my soulmate. I always felt like we'd played in a garden. There's a place called William Kent Gardens in London, and I just found out about that. But I have a feeling that he and I were children in another lifetime that used to play together. I'm still friends with Beth, his sister. When I have a show, she's going to come up. People said I stalked him, but I didn't. I did lose my freaking mind, and I called his office like 50 times, but he wasn't afraid of me. He understood the bipolar, and I was upset because of him telling me he had leukemia. That threw me for a loop. But yeah, that was a growing up period of because I'd really never lost anybody but my grandparents. But to have, I was just so fortunate. Then my friend Brooke dies in a car accident, and holy cow, I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. He's just gone. So a lot of stuff I put out, it's like she may not be ready for it, but if I were to die or something, that she would feel ready for it, to hear the things that I have to say. I just have that perspective on life, like it's tenacious, and we're lucky to have every day that we have, but we can also lose our life so quickly that I don't want to left anything unsaid that would hurt you, that if you didn't know it when you get old enough, that you would be okay with it. And I think you will be. I think as you get older, you'll see that humans are just so fallible. We're so fallible, and we make so many mistakes, even when you're the best parent. And then perspective, like your perspective is you're certainly patriarchal. Most people are. I was to my dad, too. I thought my dad could do no wrong. And then I looked at both of them in a cubist sort of sense, and I was like, holy shit, they both were fucked up. And I was a kid, and we were all kids, and my parents were really fucked up. In a bad way. They hurt us. They hurt Chip. They hurt Jennifer. They hurt me because of their issues. It's not that they meant to do it. They just had issues. And see, one day you'll see that too. I guess for me, it's just, I feel like I have a duty to my grandkids. A duty. Not just that I love them, but I feel I have a duty to share things that I've learned, and with the patience that I've learned over the years that grandparents get, that I want to share it with them. And I'm sorry that you say to them that they can't see me. I think most of the times you say that, it's just not right. You let me keep them when I was at some of my worst of having mania. They spent the night with me, and I was struggling with symptoms, and we played chess, went to the museum. We had no problems. I babysat my kids with bipolar. So, I don't know. It's just something you're going to have to figure out. But I do want to help with the grandkids because I think it's good for them. I think it's good to have me in their life. And it's not so much stress as it was living with Jerry, which you remember. It was very stressful. I can't even begin to tell you how much I hated him for doing the things he was doing to me, because I was stuck. I couldn't leave. I was trapped. I was like a trapped animal. And I don't think he meant to do it, but he's kind of blindsided because of his alcoholism. They don't see. I've dated a drug addict. He can't see what he's doing to other people by lying, not just lying to them, but lying to himself about the issues, because they don't want to get over it. They don't want to stop drinking or doing drugs, so they tell lies. I saw my kids almost go down the tubes. James and Morgan had to go. My counselor would say, what did she say? Well, he's passive-aggressive, dangerously. He used to drive in the car and almost wreck in front of the car in front of me, going really fast. And that was just because he was mad at me. He was trying to scare me. But what was the other thing? He didn't support me as a mom in any of the ideas. Like, I did not want James to get that Corvair, and it made me really upset. And I think it made Morgan start cutting herself because of the tension between Jerry and me. He didn't pay my automobile insurance, and I was driving without insurance, and he didn't even tell me. Those are scary things, very scary. Those are real life scary things, and I'm glad to be away from him. I just don't want it to bog you down, because Jerry was good in some ways. We'd go on trips, and he always set the swimming pool up, and he was a scooper in the manure on the, and he did a lot of good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but so did I. And I just think he blames me, like he blamed Gail. He said she just cheated on me, but that wasn't true. He was drinking. He was living at the beach. He had a girlfriend. She was not happy with him. She did not divorce him because she wanted the situation to be there for the kids, to help the kids. But if Jerry has said that it's my bipolar that caused the divorce, I suggest you look at that with some cynicism.